I absolutely love the idea of not having a mortgage in retirement, but is it worth taking a large lump sum out of your TSP to get that paid off at retirement? That's what we're going to dive into today. If you are new here, welcome. It is so good to have you. My name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner who serves federal employees every single day, and I absolutely love it. So let's dive right in. I get versions of this question all the time, which is, hey, I've got this big purchase coming up at retirement, whether it's paying off my home, I'd like to do that, or maybe buying a boat, or maybe buying that second home, or whatever it is. Insert your big purchase at retirement here. And the question is, hey, look, now I'm retired, I have access to my TSP. Should I just take it out of my TSP and boom, not be done with it, not have a mortgage, not have a loan, whatever it is, right? And it is so tempting to do that sort of thing. I get it, where it's like, hey, I just want to take care of this, have it over with. I want to do it all at once. Now, sometimes that makes sense, but I want you to be very careful before you pull the plug on anything large like this, taking a large lump sum out of your thrift savings plan. There are a handful of reasons that can affect you super dramatically in a bad way that you really want to think about this before you do. And there's ways, we'll talk about that later in this video, on how to mitigate some of these risks by how you do it. But let's dive right in. Number one, whenever you take a large lump sum out of your thrift savings plan, which for most of you, that's going to be the traditional TSP, which means that's pre-tax money, and then when it comes out, it is all taxable income. So let's just do an example. Let's say you need $100,000 to pay off your mortgage. Say, hey, look, my house is worth $500,000. I want $100,000 just to get it paid off, right? That shouldn't be too bad. Well, guess what? That $100,000 is going to be added straight into your taxable income, which means you're probably going to get popped up into a higher tax bracket. And to pay off $100,000 of your mortgage, you're going to have to take out, let's say, $130,000 from your thrift to be left with $100,000. I'm just making these numbers up, but it's going to be relatively close, right? Depending on your tax bracket. You're going to have to take out a lot more than just your loan amount to first pay the taxes and then be left with what you need. Now, if just paying a higher amount of taxes on that amount, if that was everything, that may be okay, depending on the situation. It may not be that big of a deal. But also, as many of you know, in retirement, if you're on Medicare Part B, for those that are 65 plus, the amount you pay for Medicare Part B depends on your income. And so if you have high spikes in income, like you would doing a large lump sum, then you're not only just paying higher taxes, you're also paying higher Medicare Part B premiums later. So that's another thing to think about as well. And not to mention, taking a large lump sum out of your TSP is going to permanently reduce what your TSP can produce for you in retirement. So what I'm trying to say here, right, is be careful. Be careful before you take a large lump sum out of any retirement account. You want to make sure it makes sense. And for many of you, I know that you locked in low interest rates a few years ago when they were low, right? If your mortgage is 3%, then I am not very inclined to pay that off early with a large lump sum. Now, let's say you're 10 years out from retirement and you could come up with a plan where you pay a little extra every month so you could have your mortgage paid off by retirement. If you can do something like that, I totally encourage it, okay? That sort of thing is amazing, where you're not affecting your taxes and your Medicare, you're not affecting all of those things by taking a huge lump sum all at once. If you have some time before retirement to get it paid off early, great, let's do that. But again, taking a huge lump sum has lots of ramifications, and I see people do this all the time, and it really wrecks the first part of their retirement over and over again. So be careful is all I'm saying, right? Now, if you are determined, you say, hey, look, I just want to buy this thing. I really just want to pay off the mortgage, whatever it is. I'm going to take it from my thrift. What's the best way to do it? And if that's the question, well, what you're probably going to want to do is spread the purchase out, okay? Maybe it means get a mortgage on that second home or whatever it is, but pay it off really quickly. Maybe instead of taking an entire lump sum out of your thrift in the first year, maybe spread it out over 2, 3, 4, 5 years or longer, right? Where instead of having to take a huge amount all in a single year and tax-free year, right? you spread it out over a handful of years, which often really mitigates a lot of the issues that come up, right? You could look at your tax bracket to see how much money you can take out without bumping up to the next bracket. You could look at Medicare Part B premiums. If you just look up Medicare Part B premium chart, you'll see there's at different income levels, the amount you pay for Medicare pops up. So if you can stay in some of the lower brackets and taking enough out to fund these big purchases, hey, by all means, make it happen, right? That's one of the best strategies we have, is just spread out the withdrawal over a couple of years, okay? If we can, I know it's not always possible, but if we can do that, that's the sort of thing we are going to want to do, okay? Now, again, ideally, we have the mortgage paid off by retirement just by paying, let's say, extra, or maybe you just got your house, 30 years ago, and so it is paid off by retirement. That is the most ideal situation, but I understand not everyone is there. I get it. I get it. So do the best you can. Again, whenever possible, don't take a huge amount out of your thrift all at once because of the tax ramifications and Medicare Part B ramifications. But if you are going to do it, spread the payments out over time, over multiple tax years, and that'll help at least a little bit mitigate some of the damage that could happen. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions yourself about maybe nuances for you or other topics, there's a link in the description below to submit questions to us, and we cover them in future episodes. So I hope that's helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.